Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Coming to you live from our comfy couch here on the outskirts of the internet. This is the Gaming Saloon Reviews for March 13th, 2019 with your hosts, Peacemaker244H and Rampant Epsilon.
Hi.
I want to rant on Geo, but I'm not making this a 2-hour podcast because I don't want to.
Yeah, let's focus on the Good Rider show.
But like, I'll be honest, folks. Like, we have the new episode of Geo subbed, and I hate it. And I really hate this show, and I really hate dumb arguments people are making about the show being good, because I don't think they're right. And I know that's a terrible thing to be doing, because it's being mad on the internet about dumb things. But unfortunately, I'm mad on the internet about dumb things. So, go me for being that person. Who's also trying really hard to not hop in a forum thread and argue with people for hours on end of how their opinions are stupid and they're wrong. Because I'm like in that mood of just like, I will argue with you about how this show is stupid and you are coming at this from the wrong angle. Because whatever you're pointing out is wrong.
I mean,
no.
I get when the show. I'll even bend this a little bit. I'll get the show's first 15 episodes. Give it time to kind of feel itself out and figure out what the writers were going with. But at this point, we should start getting answers to different things.
And we're not.
At all.
No, we're getting a bait and switch bullshit fucking Tsukiyomi totally tried to kill Child Gates, and I go, fucking no. Like, if you want me to believe that twist, you would have had to sold me on Tsukiyomi's heel turn, which you didn't even do because it was off screen. Well, it was between episodes.
Okay. To be fair, it even goes further than that. We didn't really get a definitive answer as to why the past riders still don't exist after the another rider's defeated. Like, at this point, everyone is just kind of working off it must be the rider ride watches. Except that shouldn't be how that should work.
Also,
because the rider ride watches didn't come to existence because of the another ride watches. Therefore, they don't have the same power set, technically.
Also, the another ride watches are apparently designed to defeat the original riders, apparently. That's a quote from Waz this week.
So, if that's the case, then why did we have to wipe everything for the rider?
To make Sogo look good.
But I mean, if that's the case, the another rider could just exist and be another bad guy of the week.
Also, I would like to point out
that could still exist in real time by, actually defeating the past riders.
I would also like to point out that statement is also wrong, because go back to the X8 episode, Emu was kicking another X8's ass before he got depowered. He was winning.
But I mean, like I said, if that's the case, why isn't it just another villain of the week? That, okay, if we wanted to go all the way with it and just force them to remove someone, it wipes the villains.
I honestly don't know. I think it's them trying to get out of the paradox they have wrote themselves into. Because by the way, they've
another
created a
Geo?
paradox.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I refuse. I don't care what the show says at this point about the Another Geo ride watch. No, you created a paradox. Shut the fuck up. You created a paradox, and you won't solve it. You literally created a paradox.
The only answer that I feel like I could even remotely accept is the fact that Another Geo can exist outside of the timeline, kind of like how Geo does, due to the fact of collecting the Another watches from the other riders. Otherwise, there is absolutely no answer that I'm willing to even fathom. Because nothing works.
Yeah. Also, I love how he also has the exact same power as Geo2, therefore rendering the form that we literally just had introduced, like, what, 6 episodes ago?
Not even.
4?
Maybe.
4 or 5. It was at the end of the Riki arc. Like, not that, like, render it kind of mute, which has now been re-rendered to mute because of Gates Revive, that proceeds to kick its sorry ass all over the place. Bravo. Bravo. You have rendered Geo's super awesome power-up useless. Outside of its time reset ability, which he hasn't even used yet. Also, apparently there's a theory going on that that alternate timeline we got because Sogo had his belt destroyed?
The alternate timeline that I don't think should exist.
Yes.
Because I'm sorry, it shouldn't be because of the belt getting destroyed. That timeline should have technically existed, period, because of the fact that Gates came back. Because in the event that Gates actually did beat Geo, then that would create the Gates' Savior timeline.
Right. Apparently it's been created because Sogo imagined it. Because of his time dream power bullshit that we've yet to explain.
You can't see it, but my eye is twitching.
I know. I get that way too.
That existed before any of the future Another Riders or the future Riders existed.
Right, Whitewash showed up before.
No. Like
Whitewash
I said,
showed
that
up.
timeline can exist because of Gates coming back. No other reason. Literally no other reason.
Is it bad that at this point I want Omade to end with another Geo getting blown up because fuck another Geo? Your grudge is bullshit because you blame Sogo for an accident he had nothing to do with outside of Tsukiyomi showing up and being part of the cause for the accident, and you're not blaming her? Or Schwartz? Or Tsukasa? No, you blame 6-year-old Sogo. Cool. And you only blame 6-year-old Sogo. Double cool. Way to not really think about what happened there. Thanks. And I just want Sogo to go, fuck this bullshit, and let Gates kill him. It's like, fuck it, I'm putting an end to this. Gates, kill me. Just fucking do it. We'll pull fucking Movie War 2010 here, where Sogo like gives up his life as a sacrifice so we can just get this bullshit out of the way. Obagio's gone, and we can just fucking move on and do something better in this show, because god damn it, do I not care. Because Omagio's barely in the show outside of how much people talk about he's a bad person when we don't see it. Fucking, I even thought about this recently. Why were it specifically Gates and Tsukiyomi that came back?
Well, okay. Gates, I could actually make an argument for as to why he came back. He is at least alluded to the fact that he is the only other person with any kind of belt and powers. So
Right.
that would make sense for him to come back.
Right. And we have that tease that he lost someone specifically in that attack we saw in episode 1.
That, for all we know, could be the reason why he's got the belt.
Right. But we've never elaborated on it, so... Great.
So,
Great.
Let's go off the fact that all of that is actual. He got the belt from that guy and was told to go back to kill Sogo.
Yep.
Okay. I get that. I'm with you on Tsukiyomi. Why did she go back?
Also, what is her relationship with Gates? What's their relationship?
Yeah.
Because they've never defined it. They're friends in quotation marks because that's what they're supposed to be, but they've never really talked about their friendship, if they even are friends, or just people who worked in the same group.
I get the reason why she has kind of been a part of the show. Like, she's been, at the start, the reason why Gates didn't just come out the gate killing Sogo, which would have solved a lot of problems if she just stepped out of the way. Just saying.
Yeah. Which we never got an explanation for that. Which was just...
But now she's at the limbo of, I don't even think the writers know what to do with her.
Yeah.
Because let's make her be the driving force to try to push Gates to kill him, but Gates doesn't want to now? Question mark?
Yeah, she is literally thrown into an exploding bus so Gates can finally get Gates revive. That is the episode. She is literally on an exploding bus so Gates can see her die, question mark, so he can be Gates revive. That's it. That's the episode. That is her entire heel turn arc has led to. Which, bear in mind, hasn't even been focused on the show at all. It has been a background at best.
You know what I just thought about?
What?
Okay. If the White Walls timeline, and technically now Gates Revive, is Sogo's, I'm just going to say it, imagination. That makes me wonder if that's the direction the show's going to go. It's all in his head.
Yes, I hate this show. I hate it so much. Hate it. Why? Because bear in mind, I actually watched these 4 episodes of Double yesterday that we're going to be talking about at some point tonight. And I'm like, oh my god, these episodes are so good. Oh my god, Double's so good. And then watching Geo a day later is just like, oh my god, this is where we started with Phase 2, and this is where we're ending with Phase 2, and oh my god, how did you fuck up so bad? Because the thing is, everything I hate about the show is basic. It's just like super basic character, motivation, storyline stuff. None of it is really nitpicky stuff. So, yeah. I want to quit Geo, but I know that this rabbit hole can go down further. That we have not reached the bottom of the barrel yet.
I've not hit the point where I, one, did with Kabuto, or two, did with Ghost, which is the only other two that I've actually just straight up dropped. Ghost got
Also,
to where it bored me, and I was like,
yeah.
Kabuto, no.
I'll be honest. I will give Ghost more slack because, for me at least, if you are a boring show, you are better than a show that pisses me off royally. Because at least I don't want to throttle you every 5 seconds of your airtime. You are at least a C. You are passing, if not boring.
I get that, don't get me wrong. But it's just one of those that it's like it didn't want to progress with Ghost anyhow. And that was one of those why I was like, I'm kind of just done. We're kind of just trailing this along and along and along and not really getting anywhere. Now, I might have just decided to drop it before it actually picked up steam. I don't know. You actually did watch farther, so...
No, not really.
Okay.
The problem why it was spinning its wheels is because the main writer of the fucking show was not writing most of the show.
And it was a case of no one really knew what direction to go with.
The secondary writers were all working off assumed notes, or working off show notes, and trying to get the show on track for progression. But when the main writer finally showed up, he wrote completely different kind of episodes from what was being written by the other writers, which is why you get the mixed bag of writing quality in the show. It's kind of like Ryuki, where you have multiple writers writing different things for the same characters, and all of a sudden there's 2 shows going on. Because that's what happened to Ryuki. So, yeah, let's just talk double.
Okay.
Alright, we are picking up where we left off last week, so we're taking a look at episodes 31 through 34, The Wind Called Bee 2-parter, and Wise Tragedy 2-parter. So, in the broad strokes, we're essentially covering the Double Extreme debut arc, and then the in-between arc between Double Extreme and Axel Trial debut.
I thought that was what this arc was. Well, the second arc, anyhow.
Yep. It is literally the break arc, because the next arc that we're going to cover at the start of our 2-parter next week is Axel Trial. Because it's the Quetzalcoatl Dopant memory. I believe it's Quetzalcoatl. Is it Quetzalcoatl? No, it's another dinosaur. It's some long dinosaur word that I can't think of at the moment. That I will probably screw up and pronouncing 5 times next week.
Probably.
Yeah, I guess we will kick it off with episode 31, The Beast Pursues, which starts out with some guy getting out of prison. We don't know who this guy is just yet. Spoilers, I'm going to call him Beto now for simplicity's sake.
Hey, we find out in 2 minutes anyhow.
Yep. So, Beto has been in jail for 10 years?
Yep.
10 years. We get a newspaper hinting at a Beastman reappearing, which is important for later. We'll get there. But he shows up at the office looking for Narumiso Kichi. For reference, that is Shotro's boss, who died on in the Begins Night incident, as they call it in show. Essentially, it's the origin story for Double. But he died being shot in the back by museum agents when Shotaro and Philip were trying to leave. Or when those three were trying to leave. And because of Shotaro's screw up at Begins Night, he blames himself for Narumi's death at Begins Night. But yeah, he comes there looking for him to, I guess, handle the Beastman thing. I'm just going to put that on the table as well, because we'll get there. Akiko and Shotaro inform him that Narumi's dead, and inform him of their role in the agency now, but he decides no. He does not trust Shotaro with this, even though Shotaro is straight up willing to take any lingering request of the bosses, even if it's not on the books, because Akiko actually references their files, which I think is like the first time in the series that they ever mention, oh yeah, we have files in the back.
I think you're right, actually.
I'm like, oh yeah, like we always see Shotaro like typing up a report at the end of every episode, but we never see where those reports go. So I guess they go in that bookshelf back there. Which someone pointed out how like weird and convoluted it is for Shotaro to do his reports, because he's typing them in Japanese, but he's not writing them in kanji. He's writing them in the, I don't know what the specific word for it is, but he's writing it in like the written form of it. I think it's the romanization of it, I think is the right word for it. Yeah, he's typing it in the romanization form of it, and he's typing it in a left to right form, which is the opposite of Japanese reading, because Japanese reading is right to left.
You know, I never thought about that.
Yeah, it is extremely like, hang on, Shotaro is doing all this, and that's normal for him. Like, that is a complicated way for him to do his reports, and I'm not sure how that speaks to his character. And it also makes me wonder, was Narumi the same way?
I would have to think so.
But yeah, I never really realized that detail until I saw someone pointed it out, and I'm like, yeah, that is like a weirdly specific way he's doing it, especially for someone who's natively Japanese.
Yeah.
Anyway, Shotaro is denied the request and he leaves, and Shotaro will follow him going out of the cold opening, but Philip is also pondering Shroud's words about Shotaro not being his partner and being dangerous, which I have a thing on that whole situation involving Philip, but we'll get to it when we need to. Because I agree with the reviewer about that situation. But yeah, well, coming out of the cold opening. Alright, actually, before we wait, no, we're out of the cold opening. Shotaro follows Bito to a little like temple area with a few little pop-up shops, looking for info, and Bito keeps just like flicking him on the head because Shotaro isn't who he thinks he should be, considering who Narumi is. But considering Shotaro's actions over the course of the entire series, both before here and from here, yeah, no, he's pretty much who he needs to be.
Yeah.
It's just he's more expressive than Narumi is, from what we've seen from his 2 movie appearances. Which is one of those weird things of like, Skull is so integral to like the backstory of Double, yet his only real appearances are like the first episode of Double, the 2 movies, and that's it. That's the only times the actual actor shows up. Every other time, I believe it's a stand-in. Even in Double A to Z, that's a stand-in. That's not the original actor. So, like, we only get the actor in 2010 in Movie War Core. And then in, like, the first episode, which I think A to Z reuses the footage from episode 1.
I think you're right.
But yeah, back at the office, Terry's actually being informed of who Narumi is, which is weird that, like, this is the first time he's hearing about this. Like, this is legitimately the first time he's heard the name Narumi Sokichi, most likely.
Yeah, which is kind of odd.
Which I also think they never mention that Narumi is Skull in series, which is also weird.
It is, but it isn't.
Yeah.
It's one of those that I have to feel like it's not so much to hide the fact, it's just so much that he was kind of like how Shotaro is, where he's a detective first and he's just so happens to be a Kamen Rider kind of deal.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably why that doesn't come up in show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Philip's on the lookup, looking up information on this whole case involving Bito. But while we're doing that, Shotaro and Bito meet up with Bell, an old friend of Bito's from back in the day, who then introduces us to Maru, who's his other friend from back in the day, and then we get our trio of people who were involved in the armored car robbery from 10 years ago, because that's what Bito went to jail for. But Maru's a dick. Pretty much just tells Bito to get out, and he's just having none of it. And Shotaro subtly implies that he implies that he has info on the case. Because Shotaro was already thinking, okay, if this guy is this beast man, he'll come after us, and then we can just go double and kick his ass. Because he won't be expecting that. Yeah, Bito doesn't like that Shotaro's pulling this because he doesn't know that he's double. So he thinks he's being an idiot.
Which, to be fair, he kind of is.
Right, but it's the Shotaro style.
Yeah.
It's Shotaro's brand of idiocy that it's like, there's a reason he does all this. But he doesn't have enough experience to kind of cover for it sometimes. So Shotaro is attacked by a bear for info on a bear. So bear in mind, folks, we are looking for a bear. But they go double, and for some reason, the Cyclone half of double is not working properly. And more specifically, it is apparently too strong for the Joker half. Or any other half later, really, as we find out later. And the Beast Opont has a healing factor, and it's in fact Maru. He just reveals himself, and then he just books it, because he's like, fuck you guys, you don't have the info, as Bito tells him. So it's like, you're not worth my time. But as we're coming out of the transformation, Philip gets the quick little, like, 1 episode early tease for Extreme. So we'll get to that in the next episode.
Yep.
But I believe Shotaro goes to Bell now, the cops go to Bell now for info on Maru, and she's like out of the loop of all this.
Or so she says.
Yep. But back at the office, Akiko and Shotaro are trying to figure out like what is this bear that was mentioned, and Akiko manages to describe the bear perfectly. And Shotaro remembers, oh shit, right, that's in that log cabin in the woods that the boss had for clients that needed to like not be in town for a few days for various reasons. So we go to the log cabin with Bito. So it's just Shotaro, Akiko, Bito. They find the bear, but before we can find out anything about the bear, Weather shows up, and Shotaro goes to transform, and Philip doesn't immediately transform with him, which Shotaro's like, well, I'm not letting Weather take the bear, because he kind of ice beamed Bito to hurt him and took the bear and was ready to walk away. And Shotaro is not about to let that happen. So here he is taking on Weather untransformed. Because god damn it, is Shotaro such a good character. Like, may I remind you that as we've saw from the last like 4 episodes, it took a combination of Fang Joker and Axel in order to turn Weather away. And Shotaro's doing it without Teruri there and without being transformed. Knowing full well this man will kick his ass. But Philip finally heads out after Shroud decided to take the long way into the base, I believe. Because Shroud shows up at this point and talks to Philip once more, saying, hey, don't team up with Shotaro, that's a bad idea. Right? Are you there?
Yep.
Okay. Just making sure I had the right Shroud conversation moment in the episode.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
But yeah, Philip shows up, they go Fang Joker against Weather. It's not working because once more the Philip half is too strong. I have words about that, we'll get to it. But Shotaro can't keep up, Fang Strider fails, and we end on the episode of kind of this revelation of like, they can't form double anymore, really.
Which, as we'll find out, kind of just has all kinds of weird instances come out that also kind of help build everyone.
Yep.
Because, like, I'm sorry. Is it bad that at this point in the show, I really don't feel like Philip would have just took Shroud's word for it?
I don't think either, but I also feel like it's not Philip. Not entirely. I feel like... Okay, bear in mind, this is a theory, because I don't think anything in the show super supports this. So this is just kind of like a spitball theory. I think Shroud fucked with something with Philip and tried to force Cyclone Axel Extreme to happen.
You mean like maybe when she had him inside the Extreme Memory?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. I think I kind of have thought that, either that or maybe his exposure to the Extreme Memory screwed something up.
Yeah.
And maybe put him on a more powerful route kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I feel like one of the two happened.
Yeah, I would say more Shroud because she's always pushing like, don't partner with Shotaro. No. Bad. That he is not your partner and boyfriend and stuff. No. Bad son. Bad son. Like, I feel like, no, she is trying to, like, force Philip to team up with Terry. Because, bear in mind, all of Terry's gear comes from Shroud. All of it. Like, the double gear also as well, but Terry's gear is more recently from her, which means it's more than likely part of her endgame with Cyclone Axel. So I wouldn't be surprised that, like, again, she mucked with stuff to make Terry compatible to some extent with this, like, powered up version of Cyclone. Or powered up version of Philip. But again, that's just my theory because I don't think the show supports it in any explicit fashion.
I don't think it comes out and says anything like that, no.
Yeah.
But I do feel like something's at least implied.
Mm-hmm.
And it happened while Philip was in the extreme memory.
Yeah.
Because that's the only major thing.
And bear in mind, that was last episode.
Yeah.
They only had one transformation between him coming out of the bird and now this episode, which is very likely, like, it took a little time to kick in. But moving on to episode 32, Now in the Radiance. I got the note that mentions, hey, we never have Nari's actor show up on set in the show. It's always a stand-in, but it works because his costume is just a white suit and white hat. Like, as long as you get someone like his build and don't, like, point the camera in his face, you're fine. It's like how we never had Gintaro in Geo for 2 episodes. They just had a stand-in because they just grabbed his costumes and put it on somebody his size. Except when they try to make him, like, try to do a vocal stand-in and it's wrong. But we're back with the weather fight. Terry shows up. He uses a super-powered cyclone memory to ward off weather. And also sends the bear flying into the ravine. And Shout is very much trying to break up the band, which Shotaro is pretty out of it. Because, yeah, he can't support his partner anymore. Because he's not good enough. And Shroud is an immense dick for doing this.
Yep.
But Terry helps bring Vito to the hospital, and Philip and Akiko follow. Shotaro stays behind and proceeds to do his job in the pouring rain with nothing but the gadgets, or the memory gadgets for assistance to find the damn bear. He is sad, he's a bit lonely, but he still does his goddamn job and finds the goddamn bear with nothing but the memory gadgets to back him up. And finds it too! And pouring down rain. And proceeds to walk back to the hospital drenched. Didn't even bother getting a change of clothes. And he's not even mad. He's just like, hey, I found the bear. Here you go. Still doing my job. Like, god damn it, is Shotaro just a great character? Because it's like, he doesn't hate Philip for this. At all. Like, all of the blame he puts on himself. Yeah, before that, Vito even, like, talks a little smack about Shotaro, and then he just shows up with the bear outside. Just like, damn it. But yeah, he gives him the bear, and then he heads off to somewhere. We'll see where, because once more, Shotaro doing his job.
And being Shotaro.
Yep. But Philip decides to ask Terry to be his partner. to form double, and Terry immediately shoots him down. And I think even has a comment of, "Hurt, like, do you want to hurt Shotaro? Go hurt him some other way." I think I missed the line.
I can't remember right offhand either.
But once more, I love that, like, Terry doesn't take advantage of the situation and pretty much goes, "No, you're Shotaro's partner. Whatever's going on, y'all will figure it out because you guys, that's what you do. You figure things out and you get better because of it." Like, once more, Terry's a really good character. He's a really good secondary writer. And also supporting our main heroes really well. God damn it, the show is so good up with its characters. Because even Akiko, like, just fucking just drops it all on Philip. Just is like, "What are you doing?" And like gives him a kick of just like, "Yeah, don't do this to Shotaro. Like, look, whatever's going on, we'll figure it out." But meanwhile, Shotaro went to Belle because he found her Dopant memory because she's Zone and she was Maru's accomplice for the robbery, and Bito covered for her, which is why he went to jail. And all Shotaro wants is for her to apologize to Bito. Not even gonna haul her in, although he will haul her in because from previous episodes, yeah, Shotaro's gonna get them arrested. He just more cares about her apologizing to Bito. Because I would like to refer to episode 2, where his friend turned out to be the Dopant. And, like, he met with her solo to, like, talk her down. But he had the cops waiting just over the ridge. Because Shotaro may be an idiot sometimes, but when it comes to certain things, he's not stupid. He is supremely not stupid. He will cover his bases. But Belle doesn't care. Proceeds to get the memory from him. Becomes Zone and reveals, "Oh, I can teleport people around on a chessboard, essentially." And proceeds to drop Shotaro, like, out of the building and into a ravine. So Shotaro once more drenched in water because the poor guy gets put through the ringer this week. But at the Sonozaki's, Ryubei is showing Wakana Extreme, which I think is the original well they access to get to the memory of the world, or memory of the Earth. Yeah, that's the original well they used to access to gather memories from.
Yeah.
And Extreme is this thing blowing out of it that is important. But Maru goes to the dam where it happened to get the money, and Terry is there to meet him. But since his boss is there, who's Belle/Zone, Terry proceeds to get his ass handed to him for the entire fight because he is outmatched by Beast's power/healing factor, and Zone just teleporting him around everywhere. But while that's happening, Shotaro gets fished out of the ravine by Akiko and Philip. Philip tells him about the thing he missed in the bear, which is the little note that says nobody's perfect. Which is Narumi's message to Bito, because he knew. Like, he knew full well the whole situation and let Bito continue anyway. I assume he was going to try to follow up on this case at some point, but he couldn't.
Yeah, I would have to think he would have tried.
Yeah. He just didn't have the evidence for it. But yeah, that, like, bounces back Shotaro, because Philip is just like, "Look, you're my partner, and come hell or high water, we're in this together." So the two of them, to the tune of literally the song Nobody's Perfect, which is sung by Narumi's actor, They ride off to go meet Beast in Zone in battle as Double, and goddamn it, if this isn't the best fucking intro to a Final Form debut in the fucking franchise. God damn it. It is so good. Because let me set up the scene for you. The song plays. There is no other sound effect. Even though we see Terry getting his ass handed to him and them driving to the dam, we have no other audio but the song. The first sound we hear coming out of the song when they get to the dam as they are walking up, badass, is the Cyclone Joker memories activating and them henching. And when they henshin, audio cuts back out to the rest of the song, and then the song ends after they say the count up your sins phrase. It ends exactly when Beast retorts to the count up your phrase sins. Like, it's beautifully timed. I cannot emphasize how it is beautifully timed. And then the fight picks up with the like shit goes down song that you know very well in Double. As once more, they're fighting with the fact that like Philip's overpowered and Shotaro can't keep up. But like Shotaro refuses to like let this stop them. And they keep going. And then the song, that song like cuts out eventually. And then the Extreme Bird shows up. And they're able to finally go double extreme. And a really cool moment as well. Because the Extreme Bird picks up Philip. Two lights come out of the driver. The bird like hits the lights, slides down, pops on the driver, pops open. Double literally pulls at the boundary on the suit to kind of like pull out the silver part. And then we get Double Extreme, and they just go to town on the two of them. Like, they counteract Beast's healing factor because, fuck you, we can essentially, like, program Extreme as necessary to handle whatever dopant we can, because they are literally jacked into the Earth's memory. Like, literally, Philip can do a lookup in suit right there. Using Prism Bicker, and the fact that like the Prism Sword and the Prism Memory just is a casual maximum drive, which I absolutely love. They just go to town, pop 4 memories into the Prism Bicker shield, and just blow up Zone, and then just slash Beast, and they're both done, and like we're out. They get arrested. Bito opens up a shop at the temple. Kind of becomes the informant that we see in the flashback in Movie War Core, I guess, where he's working a little stand there. Queen and her partner plug their CD, that is an actual CD, by the way. So that was an actual plug for merchandise at the end of this episode. And that is the episode in itself. So, Tommy, what'd you think of this little two-parter?
Definitely an awesome way of going into a final form.
It is... I don't know if I want to call it the strongest final form debut of the franchise, because there's a couple others I really like. Like, I like Forze's, because I love how pissed and angry you can tell Gentaro is in the Cosmic fight, which is something you don't get in the show any other time, really. Like, Gentaro's never that angry. He is pissed when he goes Cosmic and beats the shit out of Tauros. Like, he doesn't even get that pissed at the final boss of the fucking series, which I absolutely dig. I kind of dig Infinities because it does have that personal stakes in it, and it also has a really cool moment for Haruto where he literally creates his own magic.
Yeah.
Gimes is pretty strong as well, especially because of where the series goes with the consequences of him acquiring Kiwami. I kind of like Triderons as well in Drive. Because that was a good emotional one. And I also I like the moment in Muteki when Kronos tries to pause and steal Muteki, but it drops anyway. Because fuck you. I like that moment. But I think overall, this is the strongest one. Because it just hits all the right notes. And Extreme has a really good debut. And you get to see exactly why, like, yeah, Double will kick serious ass from here on out. And it's just a really good moment for all the characters involved. Which, anything else before we move into the other two-parter?
No.
Alright, kicking off into episode 33. We're at the office as a very nice young lady asks Shotaro to help find her yesterday, where it turns out to be her cat. Which Shotaro is completely enamored with her because he is for all the pretty... Yeah, he is for every single pretty lady that comes into the office because that is Shotaro's character, and that is clearly established every time in this show at this point. So no one is surprised by this. Also, every time this happens, it does not end well for him because he does not have the best luck with women. Also, we had the offhanded remark from Philip that, like, oh yeah, Shotaro picked up his best hat, his best hat for this one. So he's really trying hard for this one. But meanwhile, Terry and the cops are looking into two people who are injured that have hourglass marks on their bodies. We don't know that they're hourglasses yet, but they're hourglasses. They look like 8s with like part of it filled in. Or part of the inside filled in. But they're talking to this guy, and he attempts to jump off the roof thinking he's trying to jump into his pool. I don't think you're supposed to know that part yet, but that's what's happening. Us seeing the flashback kind of like makes you connect the dots there.
Yeah.
But Terry catches him, but he ends up in a coma for, I think, the rest of the episode. I guess until the end, along with the two other guys. But we're back with Shotaro, trying to find the cat. And the lady looks at a poster for not Wakana, Sayako. Sayako giving a speech at the hall they're at tomorrow. That's important. Shotaro knows and asks her like what's up because she seems a bit down, and she mentions Futo-kun, which is, it's been several episodes since we've mentioned Futo-kun, the mascot of Futo City.
Yeah, it has actually.
Yep. And Shotaro shows her the keychain he has, and he's like, "Oh yeah, this guy like showed her, or this guy designed the mascot, which we know is Nazca." I keep referring to him as Nazca. I don't remember his name. I didn't remember his name until this episode, and I still don't remember his name. I'm just like, oh, hi, Nazca. I feel bad when I do that for some characters.
It happens.
Yeah. But yeah, Shotaro has a little, like, nostalgia moment for that one. But they have no luck finding the cat, and Shotaro decides to bust out a secret weapon, some random cat dance that Akiko has, like, no part of. It's just like, what are you doing? This isn't helping. Until the lady hops in on it, too, and then all of a sudden the two of them are doing it and going in opposite directions to find the cat using the dance, and Akiko is just left standing there going, God damn it, these are a couple of idiots. They're made for each other. Which, I feel like he was doing that more for her than to try to find the cat.
I feel like yes.
Because again, like, this is what I would bring up in relation to Geo. Like it's established in the show that Shotaro tries to, like, I wouldn't say really hit on, like, pretty girls that come into the office looking for help, but he tries to woo them in, like, his weird, and his, like, kind of his way, where he's not overbearing of it, but it's like he tries to be smooth and suave with them, and it doesn't work. But also, he's extremely respectful of women. Like, that's established. We had Philip mentioning that he picked up his favorite hat, which shows you he's really trying this episode. And then we have this moment of him doing this cat dance for no reason other than to cheer her up, which you can just read as what he's doing. Which is like a combination of show don't tell, but also telling you information when necessary. Because that's important. Like, this is not just a visual media, it's an audio media as well. Sound is important. Dialogue is important. It gives context to visuals. So, like, saying that Shotaro is, like, really trying on this one shows that, like, yeah, he's willing to do some really dumb things to impress her. And by dumb, I mean dumb and embarrassing for him, but he's willing to try. Because if it makes her smile, it's worth it. But we check in with the Sonozakis as Sayako gets essentially a threatening letter about the speech. And she no-sells it because she doesn't care. If they do show up, she will probably murder them, or somebody will murder them. We also get the note that Wakana was the only one that was shown extreme. So I guess she's the chosen daughter at the moment.
I would think so, yeah.
Yep. But from there, we pop back to Shotaro and Akiko, and they run into a Dopant. Or they see a Dopant on a roof, and Shotaro gives chase. They head up to a roof, fight the Dopant. Shotaro goes after it, or it jumps off the roof. Shotaro goes after it, transforms. The green screen looks terrible. There's a couple green screen moments in this episode. I'm like, oh my god, I can so tell this is a green screen. That green screen. But yeah, they have this whole extended fight into the hall, down the... Excuse me. I gotta take a drink real quick. Down the stairs. It's a whole elaborate chase scene to get to the Dopant that doesn't work out. But outside the hall, they run into the lady, and I should probably say her name. I'm also going to hope that the cast listing has her fake name, not her real name. It does not. Does her page have it? No. Just call her Yuki. I get to why I say that she has a fake name. She has a fake name, by the way. But yeah, Yuki ends up finding her cat, and then she leaves. And Shotaro is kind of like, aw, I don't get to spend more time with her. Also, does Yuki reveal herself now, or... It's after this, isn't it?
I think it's after we find out the Dopants yesterday.
Okay. I was thinking so. But yeah, we go to the next day, and Shotaro ends up reliving the same day, which is hilarious because then he's trying to hit on Terry because he's in place of Yuki.
Which is hilarious.
I also love how Shotaro is literally mimicking the entire thing he did, beat for beat. I don't think there's any real differences going on. Which, all the prop to Shotaro's actor for literally copying every move, every tone, everything, and just going, yeah, I'm totally trying to technically hit on Terry at the moment. Props to Shotaro's actor for pulling that off. But as this happened, Philip tries to look up the info, and he figures out it's yesterday. But it is too late, as Shotaro has gone through the moments and is now chasing after the Dopant, which means he's hopping off the roof, and they need to transform, because otherwise Shotaro is going to go splat. So as he's trying to fight the imaginary Dopant through the hall, through the crowd, as Terry also shows up, he's essentially being used as a gun to kill Sayako. But Terry eventually breaks it up, and with the Power Extreme, they clear up the whole time repeat whammy that got put on Shotaro. I also love the little back and forth body language between the two sides of Double. Because like when Shotaro or Philip specifically talking, the body language reflects who. And I really love when they do this. So I'm like, bear in mind, that's the same person. I forget his name, but it's the same guy who's been doing the suit acting for all of the main writers for like years at this point. But yeah, he's swapping back and forth between these two like motions at the same time, which is like stupidly amazing that he's able to pull that off. I would say even more so in Den-O in like the climax form when he has to swap between 4 different characters at the same time in one scene.
Holy crap.
Bear in mind the actor for Den-O, Ryutaro, I forget the actor's name, but like he has to do that too on his own. He has to be able to like mimic the body language of I think like at least 5 different characters, including his own character. When the Imagines take over his body.
Jeez.
Yeah, that guy has amazing range, which is probably why he got hit. He hit it big and was casted as Kenshin in the Reunion Kenshin movies. Live action adaptation of that anime series / that manga series. Like, that guy's really good to be able to pull that off. It is sad that I fell off the boat on Den-O like late into its running, because damn, does he really try. But back in the episode, we find out that Yuki is in fact Nazca's little sister, and she is yesterday. She's the one that whammied Shotaro. She's also the one that whammied those 3 people. We'll find out later, or find out why later. But she did all of this to get into museum. She's not interested in revenge at the moment.
I must say, I like the way the show played that, though.
Mm-hmm. Because she sells it.
Yeah, like hardcore sells it.
Yeah, they go double extreme. They go to Slasher as the episode ends, but when we come out of the episode, she swapped to human form, and they stop because that's not how they deal with this. Which, once more, is a callback to a previous episode. It is what is it? Virus, the Virus 2-parter. When they take out the Virus Dopant and save the comatose girl, Shotaro purposely detransforms and then proceeds to punch the guy responsible for all of it in the face. Not as Double, as Shotaro. Because that's how they do business. Again, Double, the strengths of its writing. Amazing. Especially its long form writing of like, yeah, they have that character trait in the back pocket and they pull it out like right now when it's extremely important. Especially when this is also like dealing with the aftermath of Nazca's death. Like 20 some odd episodes later?
Yeah, it's like a good chunk later.
Yep. But yeah, they stop. Psycho heads off. They de-transform, and Shotro's, it's his guts telling him something's off on this, which if Shotro's guts telling him something's off, it's most likely it's something off because Shotro's guts pretty on point, I think, for the series. But Yuki meets with Psycho. She wants in. Psycho doesn't trust her one bit and tries to blow her up, and Yuki just bounces. We check in with an orphanage that Yuki and Nazca were at when they were kids. I think it's an orphanage.
I think it's at least alluded to as it's that.
Yeah, I don't remember if they specifically said it was an orphanage, but I think it's an orphanage. But yeah, she's there kind of getting nostalgic, and we get the flashback of her brother telling her that if she's in trouble to go to the Narumi Detective Agency. And we find out through that flashback that he told her that on the way to him dying. Because as the flashback like directly states, yeah, that's when he died. Or that's the day he died. So that was his like parting words to her. But Shotaro tracks her down. They have a talk before she heads out. We check in with Psycho, and we find out that she still has the Nazca memory, which is important for later, surprisingly enough. Which, didn't they show in that episode that she picked it up as well?
Maybe? I don't remember, actually.
So I don't know if this is the confirmation or the reminder to the audience of like, by the way, she has the Nazca memory.
Might be the confirmation.
Yeah. But whether is suspicious of Yuki, but just wants to use her because, oh, yesterday would probably have some good powers for you to utilize because he's all about mixing those memory powers. But Shotaro and Yuki are at a playground because Japan has this weird thing with swing sets and emotional moments between characters. I don't get it. Like, have you noticed this?
Yeah.
I don't get this trope. I know it's a trope because it's happened enough times to be a trope. So if you know what this trope means, folks, let us know because I'm extremely interested because it's happened enough times. But yeah, Shotaro's telling her of Nazca's last moments of helping out the kid. The kid with the bird memory. But she decides to fight double for a little bit. And as the fight goes on long enough, she decides to fire off a bunch of her, like, time repeat seals into the sky for double to shoot so she can get away. But they were super slow falling, and they were just enough that double could just take them all out. There wasn't more than they could handle. Which, once more, is playing into the fact of there's something going on, which... This is how you properly set up a twist with a character, is you also foreshadow stuff, which is the thing that Gio doesn't do with Tsukiyomi's heel turn. They don't, like, hint at anything with it. Whether she's being mucked with by White Moz's, like book thing or what. Just thought I'd throw that in there, too. But yeah, we cut to her meeting with Sayako, getting a promise of 2 memories. which is proven by Weather having like God knows how many memories stuck in him, or how many powers of memories are stuck inside him with Weather. But she's kind of welcomed in, and she goes to handshake Sayako, but she tries to whammy her with yesterday, and it doesn't work, and we find out the next day that she's now caught in a time loop. Or like, she's... excuse me. She's the one who's gotten whammied instead. Taboo essentially reversed the power on her, as Weather explains as he shows up. And it's devouring her memories. And they're pissed about this. Like, Shotaro and Philip are pissed. They go double. Terry tries to intervene and try to beat up Weather because he still has business to deal with him. Doesn't work. We'll get to that next week. He'll have his moment with Weather next week. They go extreme to try to save her. So they bust her monster form, bust her memory, so they can try to save her. And they deal with Weather and proceed to punch the shit out of him and do double extreme kick to take out his illusion because he books it while still taking a hit. So he escapes one last time from double before... Don't worry, we won't be dealing with Weather for too much longer. But they think Yuki's fine, but the clock strikes. She gets whammied. She's lost... I wouldn't say all of her memories, but I would assume a lot of her recent memories.
I think the show kind of alluded that she lost all of her memory.
Yeah, I wasn't super sure. Because, like, she didn't recognize them. So I wasn't like willing to like say, oh, it went that far, but maybe it did. But Jotaro kind of laments, it's like, if her memories come back, maybe she can like work off the damage she's done or make up for the damage she's done in some way. And like hates that there's like, here's yet another victim of museum and yet another victim of the Gaia memories. Because, like, as much as we've had, like, straight out bad guys be dopants, there's been several times where we've had just the people end up being dopants that weren't bad people and just ended up in a bad situation and they ended up getting hurt for it. Which is something I really miss from Monsters of the Week in this kind of style. Where sometimes the monster isn't all bad. There's a bit of tragedy to it. But we get a little comedy moment involving Akiko and not being able to time coffee properly with her homemade hourglass thing. I don't even know what the hell she was trying to make with that. It seemed a bit too elaborate. And we're out of this two-parter. So, what'd you think?
Definitely a good one to come into post Extreme.
Yeah.
Because, like, this did a good, for lack of a better term, filler episode while we're waiting between forms.
Yeah, I feel like it does feel like filler, but it also feels like a, hey, you've been watching the show for 30 episodes. Here's a giant throwback episode to Nazca. And here's us dealing with the ramifications of Nazca's death that you didn't think we would be dealing with. Like, I have to think, like, if you were watching the show live at this time, like, you wouldn't think we would be dealing with anything related to Nazca at this point. Because it's like, oh yeah, he's dead, he's gone. And then her sister shows up, and it's like, oh shit, her sister's here. Oh, she knows about museum. Oh shit, she wants in. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, as much as it's filler, it's the right kind of filler that explores our characters, explores the world, explores the people in the world. It's the right kind of filler. Because it also gives us a nice break so that we're not going from extreme into trial off the bat. We have this 2-week break so that we can kind of catch our breath from the big exciting extreme, and it kind of brings us down with a bit of a kind of a downer tragic 2-parter, so we can come back up into the big bombastic trial 2-parter to come. Also, since I forgot to mention it, our first 2-parter, The Wind Calls B, was written by Riku Sanjo and directed by Satoshi Moroda. And The Wise Tragedy was written by Kazuki Nakashima and directed by Hidenori Ishida. I forgot to mention the writer-directors. Been trying to do that. I need to get in the habit of doing it. But yeah, this is a good 2-parter. And I also realized something. Because I mentioned to you before that if Double was a later Heisei era show, Nazca would have been a writer.
Yeah.
I'm thinking now in a post Double time frame, I was thinking, why not play with the idea of a writer Nazca shows up out of the blue, and there's a mystery with Nazca's identity, or with the writer Nazca identity. That it's yeah, this Nazca's a good guy, but we don't know who. And I was like, who would you have it be? And I completely forgot that Nazca had a little sister. And I'm like, why not make it her? And something about interfacing with a purified Nazca memory jumpstarts a bit of her memories. So she tries to do some good with that, but trying to figure out who she is. That's an avenue that I'm that's a really good there's a story there you can do. Which also gives you another female writer, since we have so few of those. Yeah, any other thoughts?
No.
Just as a reminder, as I mentioned last week, the double novel, The One Who Continues After Z, takes place between these 2-parters. Essentially, Shotaro ends up sick because he was drenched with about 12 gallons of water. So he kind of ends up with a cold.
Who would have thought?
So Philip ends up having to become Kamen Rider Cyclone for for essentially what amounts to probably a couple episodes to investigate the zoo memory and the zoo Nob haunt. And essentially the novel fills in the plot hole, I put in quotations because I didn't think it was a plot hole to start with, about where the Lost Driver from the end of the series comes from. Well, the end of the series / A to Z comes from. Which I wouldn't necessarily call it a plot hole to start with, because I always assumed that was Narumi's. Because I assumed that they recovered Narumi's body, they buried it, and that's where they got the Lost Driver from. But apparently, no, that Lost Driver was made by Shroud, was given to Philip so he could become Kamen Rider Cyclone for the novel. Go figure. I think, to quote some people, it filled in a plot hole that no one thought was a plot hole to start with.
Yeah, because I mean, I think everyone would have figured it would have been Narumi's.
Yeah. So, any other thoughts?
No.
All right, then next week we'll be picking up with episodes 35 through 38. We'll be taking at Beyond the R, which is the Axel Trial two-parter, and then Visitor X, which is, I would say it's more of a filler two-parter, but it's also like the first part of the final arc of the series. And also might be your introduction to Foundation X. Granted, I'm trying to see in episode order, because the episodes all linked together in chronological order. When we're going to hit the point where we have to mention that A to Z happens. 44, actually. After the episode 43 and 44 is when A to Z happen. It's still a little bit away.
Yeah, a little bit.
But anyway, that'll do it for me. And for Tommy, we'll see you with over the course of the week and next week with more Kamen Rider Double. See you then, folks.